Hey guys, welcome back to today's edition of Notre Dame Daily as we start a new week. Hope you had a great weekend. I know I was busy as all heck from top to bottom, start of Saturday right through Sunday. And there was a lot of news that came out, especially on the recruiting trail. We know it by now, but I did just want to talk about two of the biggest commitments that Notre Dame has had in this 26 class. It's not breaking news anymore. Friday, we know the Irish pick up another huge recruiting W. You get corner Kari Adams and stud safety Joey O'Brien committing to the Irish. And across the board, I love both. You've heard me wax poetically on O'Brien as being the great cornerstone of that, what potentially could be the next great Notre Dame secondary from 26 and moving forward beyond that. In Adams, the Loyola Blakefield kid, he's a four-star who probably should be a five-star if you're into that sort of thing. But one of the best in his position in all of America in the 26 class, and now he'll join fellow corner Chasten Smith and safety Aiden Pouncey and O'Brien as defensive back commits for Notre Dame in the 26 class, which is huge. Adam comes to South Bend after being considered by Oregon, Michigan, and Penn State, so he spurns the three of them and comes to the Dome, originally scheduled to be in Eugene this past weekend for an OV. He saw all he needed to see, and we know that now. When he was in South Bend the week prior, he's coming to South Bend, and it's another huge victory there, not just for the program itself, and even more specifically from the defensive secondary position, but it's a huge moment for Adams as a young man as well, as he goes through this recruiting process, the highs and the lows that come with it. You know, it's a lot for these kids because we forget they are still kids, developing student athletes. So this is a big deal and a big announcement, as it is for Joey O'Brien. He has the makeup, and you've heard me say this before, as that next great Irish safety. Be it, maybe you're of the Kyle Hamilton camp, Harrison Smith, Xavier Watts the last couple of years, obviously, Jeff Burris, some of the names that stand out who patrolled that third level for many, many years. And this is great, too. This is another Notre Dame recruit who chose South Bend over Penn State, Oregon, and this time with O'Brien was being considered by and had mutual interest with Clemson. And again, as I said, if you're into the star ranking thing, a lot of people get really hung up on it. It serves a purpose and obviously has a role in recruiting. O'Brien listed as a 5-star, Adams a 4-star, but to me, he's on that cusp. He probably should be a 5-star anyway. But if you take a look at now what Notre Dame has done from that 5-star category, O'Brien joins now Edge Rodney Dunham, the really good talent out of North Carolina who committed back in April. Regardless of how you view the star rankings, this remains a top 2 to 3 class for 2026. Many more swings and connections than swings and misses for Marcus Freeman and company, as the class has just been built into a star recruiting group for this Notre Dame. And the fan base and the coaches and the university itself have no reason to be anything other than ecstatic over it. And I truly believe that, and I think the proof is in the pudding. And I want to continue with our player breakdowns as we focus on the portal guys who are joining Notre Dame for the upcoming season. Today, special team, and Noah Burnett, transfer from the University of North Carolina, spent the past 3 seasons there, brings with him an 80% conversion rate on field goal attempts last season, 285 total points during his time in Chapel Hill, so a pretty highly decorated kicker for the Tar Heels. Last season notched 15 of 21 field goals, including a 52-yarder against Minnesota that ultimately proved to be the game winner. He was unbelievably accurate in 2023, 19 of 20 field goals, and made all 43 of his extra point attempts. You like the idea that Notre Dame is paying attention to what is happening nationally. Now, recruiting builds a roster, and it's the most important and efficient way to build a roster. We've spoken about that. You've heard me say, and I think most people would agree. But now with the implementation of the portal, and as big as it's gotten, as much as it's grown, the Irish are starting to use that to help supplement what they do on the recruiting trail as well. And the fit here for Burnett is pretty simple. He's Notre Dame's kicker. Marcus Freeman is not a stranger to bringing in kickers via the portal, and Burnett is no different. Now, you think about Blake back in 2022, now kicking for the Saints, Spencer Schrader, Notre Dame's kicker in 23, and Mitch Jeter last season, who most recently worked out for the Vikings. Those are 3 guys that came to kick for Notre Dame the last 3 seasons via the transfer portal. So Marcus Freeman is well-versed in how to do this, and In Burnett, Notre Dame and Freeman are getting a kicker who possesses a big leg and reliability. Schrader had the big leg, but if you feel the way about Spencer Schrader as I did, you knew that he could make bombs. But there was an uneasiness that came sort of a lot of those times he came on the field because of the inconsistencies with the accuracy. I don't think that's too much of an issue here with Burnett. And as a further breakdown, when you go through the ranges for Burnett, and this is really where you should be focusing your attention, you go to the 40 to 49 range, 40 to 49 yards with Burnett during his time in Chapel Hill, 16 of 19 from there. 2 of 5 from 50 plus, but a couple of game winners came with that as well. So the big leg is there. I would say the area that he could probably tighten up just by going off the stats and the performance in North Carolina, 12 of 18 in that 30 to 39 yard range. So if you can clean it up a little bit and tighten it up, I think Notre Dame has another great kicker at their disposal. We all know how good Mitch Jeter was, and Jeter fighting through injuries last year, but he came through when you needed it the most with that kick that we'll all remember for some time that pushed Notre Dame over the top and past Penn State in the national semifinal. If you get productivity and reliability from a guy like Burnett, you talk about maybe a combination of the reliability of Jeter with the power of Schrader. I would say something along those lines. I think you would be more than pleased with Notre Dame's newest kicker, who once again in the Marcus Freeman tenure is coming via the portal. So it's just a little bit of a breakdown on Notre Dame's newest kicker, Noah Burnett, as I continue to break down a lot of the guys. Well, we'll go through all 8 guys that are joining the Notre Dame football program this season via the portal. And I do want to wrap today with something that's not football related, but anytime there's breaking news and pressing news and the big stories, whatever it may be, come out of South Bend, they should be noticed and recognized. And some quick non-football news here concerning women's basketball star Hannah Hidalgo. You follow the women's program. She is the engine that drives the machine, and we know that. An absolute star on the court, earned her way, the junior did, to the 2025 USA Basketball Women's AmeriCup team, which goes without saying is a huge accomplishment. That U.S. group will now travel to Santiago, Chile for the FIBA Women's AmeriCup World Cup or tournament, which if you advance through that, you then become a participant in the 26 Women's World Cup, which is a big deal. That's going to take place next year in Berlin. And Hidalgo will be a huge part of this. Oddly enough, former Irish teammate Olivia Miles, who just recently transferred to TCU, is also on the USA squad. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops, how the team performs, but it's a big honor for Hannah Hidalgo, and I wanted to make sure that this came out last week through all the recruiting chaos and excitement that I did make note of the big national honor for Notre Dame star junior guard Hannah Hidalgo. With that, we'll continue the portal preview. We'll have some recruiting updates tomorrow as well, with still a few more announcements on the docket and right around the corner. So stay tuned right here tomorrow and the rest of the week on Notre Dame Daily. I hope you have a great rest of yours, and as always, go Irish.